Another lovely Saturday at the Sexy Brutale. Well, it's the same Saturday, but a lovely one nonetheless. And this time, we have the last two of the introduced characters that have appeared in the game so far to finally save. Those guys that have been sitting right in the front of the foyer the entire time, but unfortunately, I just could not get over to the left side of the mansion. With the ability to now open up locks, that makes quite a bit of difference.
Okay. Do you have an...
Also, somehow I missed that card the last time. I don't even know how that happened. Now I need to go check to make sure that we are, in fact, doing the right episode. Yes. Okay. I mean, I guess I should have known that because I do have Grayson's mask right now, but still.
Oh, yeah.
Just, it's weird because that's... Well, I suppose you did need the mask for that. Still, you'd think I would have gotten that in the last episode. I don't know. So, well, hey, we finally get to know what's in here as well, because that was it's sort of a tease for the entirety of the last episode. I really thought that was going to have the trap door there was going to have some sort of meaning in the solution to the puzzle. Nope, it's just your egress out of here because, you know, everything else is locked by ghostly magic.
It's weird how many games that feature a mansion and are non-linear, often you end up in the basement at the end of it.
Well, I've got good news for you. We're not going to be staying in the basement for very long.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like we're just passing through, really, because it's ultimately, yeah, no guests are going to be in the basement. Why would they?
It is weird that there are a lot of relatively non-linear games. I'm including Mario 64 in this. But like, there's a lot of non-linear games that take place in mansions, and that you eventually go to the basement, and it's underwhelming.
I mean, oh yeah, first thing I think of is Resident Evil, and that's the usual place. Like, well, not a ton of those games, I guess, take place in mansions, but the first one definitely did. And yeah, that's where you find the secret bio lab where they're making all the zombies. Also, yeah, Killer 7 reference. That's a old Suda 51 game, which is honestly kind of amazing. It is a weird, like, political cartoon of a video game.
Can I share with you a really stupid sequence of thoughts that I just had?
Yes, please.
Okay, so
we are recording, so absolutely, this is the time to do it.
Okay, so I was like, well, what other games take place in a mansion? Well, I guess there's that, that Luigi's Mansion 3. That's more of a hotel. Are there any others in that series? Because I didn't think the first one. And then I'm like, oh, that's right. It's a mansion. It's Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, that is the game. Maybe aside from Final Fantasy, that has the most ironic title, given that Luigi owns none of the mansions in the subsequent installments.
Wait,
and the third one doesn't even feature a mansion.
I thought he inherited. Oh, you're just talking about the successful installments. Yeah.
Well, in the first one he did, but in the second game there are several mansions, none of which are owned by Luigi. Okay. They're all owned by EGAD.
I would argue that the ghosts really own the mansion. I mean, he just inherited it. Like, it's just his name on a. Actually, no. They did not own the mansion, because you got to remember that King Boo freed them from the portraits in the very first game, and they just kind of gravitated towards the mansion to make it a trap for, well, Mario in particular, because for whatever reason they always need to have you saving somebody, and I guess Mario is the equivalent of like Luigi's Princess Peach. Mario is kind of the protagonist.
The funny thing too is that in Princess Peach's game, Mario was also the equivalent of Princess Peach. It's like if you're not playing as Mario, the world just completely revolves around him.
Yeah, anytime Mario isn't on screen, all the characters should be asking, "Where's Mario?" Mario is missing.
An extraordinarily apropos quote here.
Yeah. I should have just said, they say, they should be saying Mario is missing, which would have been a better joke.
Yeah.
But I messed it up, and we can't go back.
You know what? Even Wario in the first game that he starred in, Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land, you didn't rescue Mario, obviously, but you were trying to get back a gigantic golden statue of Peach or of Mario? I know Mario stole it away at the end, though.
Well, I mean, in fairness, like
in a very weird sequence that was not very well established in a Game Boy game because it's a Game Boy game.
The Resident Evil games don't really take place. It doesn't really involve a Resident Evil. That's just that sounds like that only applies to the first game.
What are you talking about? I would absolutely call the mansion in the first game a residence of evil.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking like in subsequent games, though.
Well, we still got like the Baker Mansion and everything in Resident Evil 7, and there was the Antarctic Mansion in Code Veronica.
I'm talking about the name Resident Evil. Do you feel like there's an evil?
The Baker Mansion was an RE7. That's a mainline game.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, whatever.
You're gonna test me on my knowledge of Resident Evil?
I don't even have knowledge.
It's not as good as a lot of other people, but no. I know a decent amount about it.
I mean, I was just saying, like, Luigi's Mansion, you were saying that was like a misleading title, but Resident Evil, I feel like it doesn't always.
It's a bad series name. It's a lot like why can I not remember the name now?
Because it's not a good name.
The
Case in point.
Etrian Odyssey, which none of the games past the first one take place in Etria, I think. But, the Japanese name, what is it, Labyrinth of Yggdrasil. It's like, yeah, all of them take place in gigantic Yggdrasilian trees.
Okay.
Which is super weird, considering they have to keep coming up with excuses as to why there's giant trees all over the place.
I gotta say, I'm not necessarily feeling good about the safety of the chandelier. I don't know why. It just feels like it's poised to drop on like the seat underneath. I don't know. I just a hunch.
Oh, actually, you might remember that a couple episodes back, I got the ability to destroy very particular stained glass stuff, of which has only been used for urns up until now. Mm-hmm. So although it might seem like, yeah, that would. I mean, there's me even pointing at it in the thing. Awesome. That was entirely unintentional. I didn't even remember that.
Well, I'm sure it's not.
I mean, I remember like noticing that as well. But I didn't remember noticing it to the point that I was caressing it with my cursor.
I'm sure that's not the point that, the object that ends up committing the murder somehow.
Oh, we don't even know what's. Like I said, despite the fact that Aurum and Thanos have been around since the very beginning of the game, they're like the first characters you see after you finish the intro. We got no idea what happens to them at all.
It seems like pretty
and I'm just like
that
fumbling around looking for where they're even at this point in time.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems kind of just me, but like we've identified this chandelier that's like, shimmering, and now we're going upstairs to presumably a place right above that chandelier. I don't know. Maybe I'm just...
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mentioned this last time. These mirrors. You'll just see this occasionally where the staff members will kind of walk in and out of rooms, seemingly disappearing as they go in there. Obviously, since you can't be in the same room and whatnot, you'll never be able to see that. But there is always a mirror in one of those rooms, and I'm pretty sure you know what that means if you've ever played a video game before.
Well, it means you can go into the mirror, right?
No, absolutely not.
Oh.
But maybe.
Well,
I mean, I can't.
Well, it always means that something in the mirror is going to be different, and you're going to be like, "Oh, that's again my only." Game.
Well, they're described as being immaculately crafted, and also have an image of a moth on it.
Oh.
So what does that mean? I don't know. I don't think we've actually gotten much of anything moth related up until this point.
In a mansion this size, all the characters will die. Mothman prophecy.
Yes.
Sorry, has anyone seen that? Chat.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, I have no idea what that passage is. I'm sure it's very apropos though.
The path of the righteous.
That's the word of the episode.
Set on all sides by iniquities of the.
There we go.
Furious man.
So as it turns out, no, the chandelier did not end up murdering anybody. The entire point of doing that was to get down the candle so that I could see the ghost down there.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, that's right. All for that.
I looked up Proverbs 23:14, and it says, "Thou shalt beat him with the rod, and shalt deliver his soul from hell." Huh.
Interesting. Does that have anything to do? Well, they're dead.
I mean, you tell
anyway,
me. Oh,
does that have anything to do with what we've seen in the game up until this point?
I mean, yeah, you'll beat him with the chandelier or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, deliver people from hell. You're beating with. I mean, I guess you could kind of ascribe that to the guests, but.
So I have
No, I don't think there's something to keep in mind though for later, I guess.
Okay.
Because like I said, I still have yet to play through the entire game, and we only got one episode past this part that I know about.
Oh, really?
And
so when you're not darkly hinting things. So you're
no, I actually don't know.
Oh, okay. Well,
for real.
Okay.
I mean, there's certainly
have you?
There is still a lot of weird stuff going on in the game. Think about like Golden Mask Guy.
Did you found
and the fact that once again we have not seen the actual Marquis appearing in the game at all, except in the form of whatever his random objects he has around the mansion are.
Oh, so he wasn't the one shooting in the first episode? Like he wasn't the one?
No, that was just a random staff member.
Oh, wow. That's right. Yeah, okay. Interesting. So they're keeping their cards close to the vest.
Of course, there is also one more person to be saved after Thanos and Aurum, so I think it's an obvious choice, but there is also of course the Marquis is married.
Oh, okay.
And we have not seen anything of his wife either.
Huh.
It's something that if you've been looking at a lot of like the lore objects that I've been staring at, has become very, very obvious that both of them are missing at this point. Eleanor, in fact, is the name of the Marquis' wife.
I love these kinds of exchanges in video games because they're just so necessary, but they're so like you have to have them. Like there's some level that you have to have somebody or a post-it note. Like, oh yeah, the password is 123, obviously.
Yeah. It's playing another game right now where the password is always 123.
Stop asking me.
You still got to get the key card for it anyway.
You ask me that every day. If somebody were around and knew about this, they'd be able to figure out the password. Stop asking.
Well, every day. This game has a very specific shtick going on. They're only having the exchange once.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, in general, like that convenient revelation.
I mean, for whatever reason, I get stopped by the ghosts, but I don't know if anybody else does. I guess we do see them interact with other people, kind of. Like, seemingly they can have objects. In this episode, we'll see that later, that getting one of the invitations is entirely dependent on me having a ghost steal an invitation from Aurum here. You can see that kind of happening in the background if you're looking for it.
I feel like if you were a ghost and you had a secret password, you would kind of do that though. You'd be like, you know what? The password is Eleanor. Okay.
Not a real thing, by the way.
Yeah, I think they did a Mythbusters on that.
What?
A Mythbusters.
Oh, yeah, I think that... I mean, it's not like it would be a very difficult thing to test overall. Yeah. And I'm just kind of messing around with everything that I'm seeing here because why not? I don't know. Whatever. And there's the other thing. Yeah, you can kind of see that everything has a very specific style to it that you can actually break. It's that red and blue sort of stained glass. But aside from these urns, I think that... Yeah, there's... only a couple things you can interact with aside from that. The singing is one of the less used abilities around here. Also, yes, a large ballroom, of course, just having two very large cabinets hanging around the corners. You know how that goes.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, come on.
You were trying to go in the cabinet, yeah. And then wardrobe.
Yeah, it never works out in the way you want it to. Yeah, I'm leaving. Shut up, you big evil floating mask. Okay, anyway, I didn't quite get in the position that I wanted to there, but I suppose it's fine. It's enough to understand what's going on regardless. Yep. That was also the first thing that I did in the series. Well, after the tutorial.
Would you say there's any part of this game that has been very difficult, or is it all kind of like this? It's hard to.
Oh no, I'd say this game is. I would not say that just like any part of this is. It's a simple pause. We talked about before how looking at how some point-and-click adventure games worked in the past. I'm glad that they did not go for a very difficult route.
Yeah,
dealing with just absolute nonsensical logic puzzles where you got to, affix a fake mustache with honey to your face to impersonate a person who doesn't have a mustache.
Well, you should have figured that out from the bees that were hanging around. You're supposed to cultivate honey from the bees, and then grow a mustache, and then attach it another mustache so it's taller.
The what was it? The 11th guest. I remember had like a pantry where you had to shuffle around a bunch of cans to spell out a sentence. The sentence contained no vowels aside from Y.
That's very weird.
And I believe this, and I remember it being so absolutely egregious. The sentence is something like, "Shy gypsy, spryly trips by my crypt."
Uh-huh.
And it's like, holy Christ.
Like, it's pretty much almost...
But yeah, no, this game does not compare to something like that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, if you need to look for a bunch of words that have Y as their vowel, I'm your man.
Yeah, I feel like you could probably place a lot of the indie games that were made on like a two-dimensional spectrum, like in the last 10 years or so. But like the cuteness of the game and then the difficulty of the game. Like where this is one of the corners and Baba is you is one of the corners.
I mean, I do think that I've talked a lot about cuteness and... Oh, by the way, there's the ghost actually stealing the invitation. You can see that right there. Took me a while to realize that. I basically followed around Aurum after recording this, trying to figure out where the hell his invitation was this entire time until I noticed that. But, yeah. Cute games especially that have darker twists. I've talked about a lot in regards to RPG Maker games that come out. I feel like it's a common sort of genre-y type of thing to do.
I definitely get the feeling that the theme statement of this game is "Stop the murder, ooh woo."
Yes.
It's extremely
cool. Of course. Some very ooh-woo-ish murders, given how we've seen how everybody's died so far.
It's funny because the murders actually have been kind of brutal. Like they've been
actually very brutal. Don't you remember Willow's?
Oh yeah, just which one? Like the one who
that was the hanging.
Hanging. Okay, yes, that was absolutely. That is genuinely one of the more brutal like deaths I've seen in a video game. I think.
It's, at the same time though, it's like when you actually find out what's going on, it's super goofy.
Okay, fair enough.
The gigantic top hat wearing fish.
Oh yeah.
Did you forget about that? Did you forget about the giant top hat wearing fish?
Wasn't that also an invisible top hat wearing fish?
Yes.
Okay.
It's an invisible ghost top hat wearing fish. She was being possessed by it. Anyway, hey, ghosts having cards for me, and then I don't even know why I did that. I think I meant to peek. It was not intentional. But okay, we still got to figure out how all these schmoes die already. Still is kind of a big roadblock to actually solving this. Yeah, despite the fact that I would have had access to this room for quite a while, didn't really go into it until, I'm actually trying to save these two. Yes, it is something of a thing. Where is Lucas at?
Oh.
By the way, there's something that we have not addressed at all in the game up until this point.
What?
Which is The Marquis's name is Lucas Bonds.
Mm-hmm.
My character's name is Lafcadio Boone.
Huh.
Huh.
And so is this one of them kind of things like the it's a virtual simulation for him to solve the mystery. It's a challenge that he created. That's how rich he is. It's a big theater.
I mean, we're talking about how he wanted to do that entire wacky thing where he's going to put on like a show that takes place across the entire mansion
over one day. Huh?
Over one day, repeated over and over, or not, or something. I don't really know.
Also,
once again, I haven't seen the end of the game.
Everyone is looking for Lucas, and you are apparently not able to be in the same room as them, so they wouldn't know that you were there.
Oh, there's a gold mask guy. There is still that guy there.
Oh, shimmering, yeah.
And don't forget about the like there's that one room where there's just like outright a demon there dealing cards.
Wait, what the hell? Why did that chandelier fall?
You got the singing bit, remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is that there's the stained glass that breaks, right? As well, like this.
Yeah, it's supposed to be made of stained glass. I don't know who makes a chandelier out of stained glass, but whatever. Let's just accept it like it is.
Yeah. I guess it could be pretty cool if it's like lightly stained. And you've got like natural sunlight going through it. I don't know. Might be.
And well, it's not natural sunlight. It's a skull with a candle in it.
I have to wonder why is this? This seems much more complex. Like not like difficult, but just more like.
Hey, why do you think this is the longest episode of the series so far?
Yeah. No, I was actually kind of referencing that, but I didn't want to reference it directly.
Well, how was I supposed? Anyway, hey, there's a ghost over here. Let's go talk to him because clearly, dude's got something to say with the amount of stuff I had to do just to get him out here in the first place.
The drivel in this library.
Da Vinci? Yeah, that's right. I said it.
Okay.
Well, it is important, I suppose.
It's funny. Like when I saw that it was like, oh, it's like hanging on. I thought that was like either a really, really stupid and gross like wordplay, or it was like a clue, and it's both.
Well, I've got news for you in regards to the sexy Brutale. It's still not sexy, but rude and crude, absolutely.
It has a tude. That's true.
Yeah, it definitely has some sort of tude.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Lefcadio.
Paintings are wittily placed. I feel like it's bothering me that they're
That's
tilted.
definitely sarcasm.
If your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow.
A lot of Bibles around here.
Yeah.
Awful lot of Bibles.
Hey, I don't know.
That's what I'm looking for.
Did Willie Nelson write this game as a sequel?
Occult preparations on the table.
As a sequel to Family Bible? I don't know. I'm just riffing, folks. Wait, never mind.
Just kind of spitballing here, seeing what's going on.
You banned me from saying folks, so I forgot about that.
Yep. I did, and I still hold to that because I know that if I ever relented on that you would. Oh, hey, that's useful.
It is weird.
I know if I ever relented on that, you would immediately just 50% of your speech would just be replaced by the word folks.
By the way, is it weird for you that we're talking to an audience? Like when we do these pre-recording, it's not like the same as streams where you literally have people watching and potentially chatting and stuff. We are just like addressing an audience in like the future.
Oh yeah.
Is that,
the way I look at it is that I am like presenting this as if it's some sort of art piece.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the idea is that I'm not really expecting the people to respond, but I am expecting them to be extant, which might not be the case with some of these series.
Especially the ones that I'm on, let's be honest.
Unfortunately, a lot of the ones you're on tend not to be the most popular ones. One might say that there might be some sort of correlation, but I would just say that I bring you on to ones that I don't think are going to be very popular because I don't... You know.
Yeah, no.
I'm trying to elevate them above, me just doing them by myself.
Yeah,
Although I don't really like sexy brutality. This game does.
No, I and it's like we come back to this a lot. Like a lot of whether we like games or not is, do they have a lot of heart? Do they have like a thing that they're trying to convey to us, or are they just trying to, if it's like you can do mindless gameplay, and that's just really well constructed, or you can do really soulful, well thought out. Like they clearly thought out all of these rooms pretty well. Like
boy, did they.
Like just interior design, and it's not like precise because everything has to fit the clues and everything. It's like, no, a lot of this is just like the equivalent of flavor text, and they did a really good job.
Yeah, there are so many rooms that just kind of exist to have like a few interesting things to look at. Like nothing important happens in this room, for example. Mm-hmm. They still try to never mind. They still try to in some way, incorporate unique furnishings in there to make it interesting looking just by itself.
Yes.
And that's why you get, we were talking about that in the last episode too, where they did not need to give you a lore room on the Switch rooms, which are just a basic puzzle contrivance.
Yeah.
But
they did. I love that shit. Like the Switch room, the famous Switch room. Like the famous Switch room, making fun of like the very much OSHA non-compliantness of this mansion. I feel like they should.
Okay. You can now kind of see what's going on here. Also, Firebird Furnace, of course. You get that channel rep out there.
Yeah. They were referencing you.
Yeah, so when they made the game.
This game is new enough.
When they made the game, around the time I started my channel?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, this guy seems like he plays Dead Cells. I think let's put an homage in here.
He's playing Dead Cells probably without commentary at that point in time.
That classic personality.
I'd like to say that the gameplay has personality. No,
yeah. It can.
Well, anyway, there's the shtick there, and the fact that there are gigantic. Man, look at those doors.
You ever watch a channel where it's like the presenter has a really boring personality, but they play a game in a really interesting way? That's like, oh, this person has a lot going on for them when they're not talking.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to say, well, of course, it's like, I might have some bias here.
Fair
it's like I would never want to admit that. Anyway, hey, those statues that have been all around the entire mansion? Well, that have been around the first floor of the mansion here. It's like, yeah, they're actually very much meaningful. That whole thing where I was trying to figure out how the hell are you supposed to gamble with this? It's like, no, as it turns out at this point in time, you're supposed to match it up, I guess, with hearts. It's supposed to all be a bunch of hearts. Why did I go into this room? I keep forgetting not to just... Yeah. I guess there's little penalty to walking into a room rather than peeking, but still.
Mm-hmm. It's just one of those that reminds you that, okay, you really need to write this down if you want to get it perfect. Like, if you wanted to speedrun this game...
the map, if you're looking at it in the pause menu, does actually show, if you know where the characters are, it does show their movement. Mm-hmm. And you can scrub through the timeline to see exactly how they're going around. So it is it's not impossible to do that. You don't really have to write it down. Game does it for you. Another very handy sort of clock. Not entirely necessary, but because the library one is so close, but whatever.
Oh, the clock, sort of like the checkpoints, right? Like there's something.
Yeah, that's the one you can pretty much choose where to start your day at.
Okay.
Representing different parts of the mansion for the most part. This, I believe, is called the Heaven and Hell Staircase because of the themed paintings around here.
Wow.
Also, not the gigantic furnace elevator slot machine room, but which is what I would call it. But
No, I don't really have enough knowledge of art to have any commentary on the paintings, but it is kind of an interesting like touch where they've got paintings everywhere. Yeah.
There is one very meaningful painting here. That one. Hey, there's, a very specific character who has been quite mysterious in the game that sure does seem to look like a golden-haired skeleton. Hey, look, he's right in the upper left corner right there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, that Revelation quote, I think it was referring to the Meat Puppet song, Lake of Fire, maybe.
Oh, yes, the classic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as of right now, is that all of... Yeah, that's all of the statues. Now I know where each of the 4 are. So you can probably take a guess that the way that you want to do this is to get them all to line up in the right way. Unfortunately, Aurum is also just kind of running around and pulling the handles of some of them throughout the day. So we got to go reset this one.
Okay.
Because it's not really something that... You can't just set them at the beginning of the day and hope for the best. I guess the idea would be that he's trying to get them in the right position, but wasn't really told what the symbols were supposed to be. It's the ones that turn green. In case you're wondering. Oh yeah, and this last room, also interesting. I didn't really, due to the fact that it took so long to be able to examine each one of the placements here, I didn't really get to do that on camera. But each one of the characters that appear in the game have their own place at the table, etc., and so on, except for some reason the Marquis. Mm-hmm. Even the Marquis's wife is actually at the table, but across from her is Boone instead. Is that weird? Isn't that a weird thing? I don't know.
Is that where you find out that that his wife is in there? Like, have we gotten any other indications of that?
Oh, a bunch of the lore stuff has talked about that. For example, like the Marquis's wife is a big fan of like specific rooms in the house. For example, the aquarium, I think, was built. The various aquariums up near where I was doing Willow's Ark were built specifically for her. And then like her name is the password to get into the ballroom. Here, we also get that. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a bunch of things where you wouldn't really know what like the Marquis's name is or about the Marquis's wife unless you were combing through the lore like I am.
By the way, does every staff member have a number on the back of their head?
Yeah, I do believe they do.
Okay, I just noticed that, and I'm like, oh.
Like the deck of cards suit there as well.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, no, I guess that, given that it turns big, bright, friendly green when it does that. But hey, that's your hint on that one. Of course, the important bit here was to try and, was to know where to get the arm for that statue more than anything else, because that's the only one that I could not manipulate. And then just wait 10 minutes here so you can see the full scene, because, didn't really get to see that before. Just kind of saw the very tail end where they got fried, basically. Mm-hmm. It is more or less a gigantic furnace.
I do love that all of the staff members, like, it's a little touch that you only like sort of notice. Well, maybe you noticed earlier, but like just all the staff members are walking around like committing a murder plot that's really elaborate and sophisticated. Like, you just imagine all of the staff members like have these exact instructions. You have to be here at 9:50, and then you have to turn the statue arm, and then you have to turn around the wardrobe so you can get the statue arm.
And everything like that. I mean, it is more or less the conceit of the game, though, too.
That is such a cool, like just thing to imagine. And then it's also this mansion that represents how, like, the psychology of the individuals. I don't know. It's interesting.
I mean, in the sense that any sort of living space would represent the psychology of an individual.
Yeah, yeah.
Lived-in spaces are always interesting in that way, regardless of what sort of area, mansion, a small house, live in a cave in the woods.
Yeah.
It's going to have, stuff specific to that person in it.
Yeah, and I guess that is kind of the whole premise of this walking simulator genre. It's like you should, a lot of times you just have a lived-in house. Gone Home being the obvious example.
It won't. You're going to die. You're both going to die. And the fun thing is that the statue at the very beginning, back in the foyer, is already on the right symbol, and then also is the one that is the only one that Aurum didn't actually change. So hey, that's at least one you can cross off the list.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we saw that again. We don't need to see them get murdered already.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the basics that we're looking at here. I want to make sure that I hit this one because this is the first one that Aurum's going to be polling. Then the one on the way over to the gigantic furnace is going to be the next one that I want to hit up. Finally, I can go and get the knight statue that's missing the arm. The only thing is that I got to make sure that I grab that from the dumbwaiter, which I think I already did. Did I already do that in this one? I don't even remember.
I don't think you've done it in this run yet. Like, you saw it through the people.
Just stop acting like this isn't all pre-recorded.
No, I mean, you did this you did the dumbwaiter thing. You found it in the last run, and I don't think you've done it in this run.
Well, one of the things in the game is that information does carry over.
Oh,
so knowing that's
you don't have to like go through and
passwords.
You don't have to see the guy opening it again. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's stuff like that. Stuff like the book password, getting the Eleanor one that we saw earlier. Yeah. All that sort of stuff does carry over. Yeah, thankfully,
that would just be silly.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
you might not be able to take physical objects with you, but you can take the knowledge of where they're at.
Mm-hmm. It would kind of like break this whole non-linear genre if you were to just say, well, people can't remember. I mean, no one remembers things throughout the timelines. Well, what's the point?
Yeah, how would that even work?
Yeah. It's weird because I think
I guess you the player do, but
I mean you the player, but like in most of these games it's like whatever the protagonist is usually has like knowledge.
It would be a very big how do you describe that? Suspension of disbelief sort of issue.
It's like, I mean, sometimes they're pretty clever about it where it's like, oh, what just happened? Why are we back here?
Oh, I suddenly remember other timelines, Steins Gate. But, not that any sort of Steins Gate would do that.
Yeah. Nor would any of these visual novels.
No, definitely not. Not the many visual novels that we talked about related to time loops during Time Loopuary. Which is, we still never came up with a good name.
So are we gonna get done with this? I think Timeuary was pretty good. Or no, that sucks. Never mind.
Tiny Uary, where we only play the smallest of games.
It's the shortest month.
It's true. That actually makes a certain amount. No, we should have done it during the solstice. Come on, that's the obvious time.
Yeah.
But then again, that's when everybody's doing the various celebrations.
Do you have any fans that you're aware of in the Southern Hemisphere?
Probably. Anyway. Okay. No, I already got the card here. Anyway. More or less, this is, I think, the last one which Aurum has yet to get to get a hold on. What is the word I'm trying to think of? To activate.
Oh, okay.
Get a hold on, I suppose, is a way to put that. And that's why I'm just hiding in this room at this point in time. Because you ruined it, man! Not that it matters. Look, he's not going to be doubling back this room to hit it again. And if he did, I would know about that. Like at this point in time, I had to go through several loops to kind of get this entire thing.
Oh, so you actually do have to get a specific one. You don't just have to press the lever. You have to get.
Yeah, it has to get the heart.
Yeah, okay.
Specifically. Mm-hmm. And there we go. That should do it. You guys are still getting into a gigantic furnace elevator, but whatever.
Very appropriate considering today is Valentine's Day.
Yes. It is truly the
Well, when we're recording this, probably not when it's really. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually 2 days after.
How is it fitting that it's Valentine's
It's hearts.
Day? Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. I don't know. I associate Valentine's Day with Saint Valentine.
Wait, what do you mean? You guess. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, what do I mean? I guess I had to figure out something to say to save face there, and that was the best I could get.
Yeah, I know.
And look, I just started that sentence with the hope that I would go somewhere with it.
Yeah, no, I do that all the time. Okay, never mind. I'm just. In fact, I probably knew you were doing that. I just.
Oh boy.
We have to invent drama.
Yes, it's true.
That's the.
It's the only. It is truly the cornerstone of these videos.
Yeah, you can't do a two-hander without some psychology coming in.
Yes. I mean, it's like we got to have, that level of like mutual animosity or like unresolved sexual tension. And I don't know which one you wanted to go for, but I went with the animosity.
Speaking of which, so it doesn't turn into a machine that makes them fall in love when they're 4 hearts.
Oh, if only. I mean, if by falling in love you mean starting on fire.
I mean, they don't start on fire thanks to that.
Which I guess flames of passion.
Mm-hmm.
I think Aurum's mask is way cooler.
Who's telling you that? Is that the ghost telling you that?
Yes, it's what is he called? The bloody girl, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the official name they were given, but who are they? I don't know.
Okay.
Somebody. Yes. So yes, this is how I got a lot of the lore entries that we've been seeing before. It nice. Is, there's so much will be revealed. It's just the lore.
Okay.
And yep. Hey, I was saying that we're not actually going to the basement. We're totally going to the basement in the next episode. Yeah, baby, let's go to Endgame.
Hell yeah.
It's the only logical place. Yeah. Well, that or the gigantic, hellfire doors up above me, but it
makes you fall in love with the mansion by seeing its spacious and beautiful basement.
Anyway, once again, I mean, we saw this, or I pointed this one out earlier, but yeah. The ghost steals the invitation. That's, kind of frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Getting Thanos' invitation, on the other hand, a little bit more difficult. Well, not more difficult, but a little bit less obvious.
So usually you can just steal it off the body?
Yeah, that's usually what you do, but I guess starting on fire would it? Well, I mean, it wouldn't even. I don't even know if that would prevent that necessarily. He didn't have it because this guy stole it.
Oh, so this is like a cut. You're just getting the invitation now at this point.
Yeah, okay. Just to show the thing. So you got to find something to trade. What is it? The hungry charm. I don't know, man. I just grabbed all the items that I could, and this one worked. It's not like super not clear. Whatever. Look, let's get that lore.
Ooh, I love lore.
I love that lore. Lorem. Yes, that's right. Lorem runes. Have I think at this point in time, only got 2 more left to go. 6 pence. The very first person who was killed, who I could not get because the day would end too quickly or something before you could even grab it off of his corpse.
And by the way, have you ever noticed how characters that are named like Aurum or Auric or whatever, they tend to be associated with gold? Is that just me? Am I the only one who's ever noticed that? Like Auric, Goldfinger? And that was the other one I was thinking.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Isn't that real weird? Anyway, yeah, I was talking about the golden-haired skull painting thing there. She called it the Golden Skull.
Huh.
Once again, some very interesting sort of comparisons to be made with the man that has been kind of like walking around here the entire time. I mean, I don't know, I think it's pretty obvious. What exactly does it mean? I don't know.
Huh.
But the comparison is obvious.
Yes.
And one more, of course, the furnace elevator. Once again, I do want to point out, got to get that channel branding.
Ooh.
But that is this one. Next time, basement, baby. Except much larger than the part that we've seen already. Much more interesting, too.
Ooh.